Hello, Thunder Wizards. This is Mahadeva, the OG Thunder Wizard. So, I want to talk to you about some things I've been thinking about, and I've finally been able to put into words some of my experiences having to do with two different types of magical spells or magical rituals. So, this is going to be a two-part video for the Manifestation Mastery course. And so this first video, I'm going to be talking to you about the theory behind it and what it means. And then in the second video, which I'm going to call the B video, that is going to be found at thunderwizard.com. Now, normally you need to subscribe to get to the B videos, but because we are in lockdown, I'm going to make it available to everybody. But I'm just letting you know how it works. At the end of the video, again, I'll tell you where to go to watch the second half, where I will teach you a very powerful ritual to manifest very powerfully. So, I want to talk to you about the two kinds of rituals, two kinds of spells. But before I do that, I want to share with you the example that I'm using to explain it. Now, bear in mind, I am not a physicist, I am not a scientist. But I'm going to be using what little I know, which is probably nowhere near accurate, but what little I know about some subjects I've been looking into recently, which is dark matter and dark energy. So, don't get fooled by the name dark, by the way. Dark has nothing to do with color, it has nothing to do with black magic or dark this or shadow that. It's got nothing to do with any of that. So we have a universe that, is filled with things like stars and planets, black holes and quasars and all kinds of neat stuff that I don't know anything about, gas and dust and all kinds of other stuff. But everything that you can see, including light, including things like electricity and electromagnetism, these things are only 5% of the universe. The rest of the 95% of the universe is made up of this invisible material. Now, what the reason why they use the word dark is because it doesn't interact with light. Now, don't mistake that with black holes. Some people are, when I'm talking about it, are mistaking it with black holes. Black holes are actually the color black because they absorb light. So black holes are part of the 5% of the universe that we can detect. You can't see black holes, but you can see the effect of them because of the gravity. But they interact with light, they interact with themselves, they interact with matter. They are part of our 5%. The stuff that's called dark matter and dark energy is called dark because it doesn't interact with light, it does not interact with itself, and it does not interact with us. So dark energy and dark matter could flow right through us and would have, I don't know what effect it would have, but it's not interested in us, it doesn't care about us, and so that's why it's called dark. We can't detect it. We can only see mathematically that it's there, and we can see some of the effects of dark matter because without it, there wouldn't be enough gravity for things to happen the way that they do. Now, one of the most interesting things about dark energy that I've recently learned, again, I'm not a scientist, so don't beat me up. Again, I'm just going to use this as an example, so it's okay with me if I don't get it right. But one of the things that I find interesting about dark energy is that the universe is expanding. And when the universe expands, there would be like this hole left over. And it shouldn't Anyway, I can't get into all of it. I can't explain it all. Bottom line is, as the universe is expanding, there is this energy that is arising out of nowhere to fill the space. And this is called dark energy. And so it's seemingly being created out of nothing. Why is that important? Well, because you've probably heard that in the universe, energy cannot be created. It is only transformed. Like when a person dies, all of the energy and all the matter in their body goes into the earth, and it is transformed into other stuff like soil and gas and trees, and the energy is still there. The amount of energy hasn't been lost. It's been transformed into something else, and then that energy is then taken and used to create other life. Whenever a person is created, it's the energy of the blah 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 blah, and you create a person. So that is understood, that in the universe that we understand, energy is not created or destroyed, it is only transformed. It changes into something else. So the energy is static. I mean, the amount of stuff, including energy, is static. That is not true with dark energy. Dark energy seems to appear and create out of nowhere, as I understand it. Now, as I'm looking at these subjects, why this is important is because I have come to the realization, I was just talking with one of my clients today, and as I was explaining something, I found myself becoming aware of this concept that I have an awareness that there are two major types of magical rituals, or magical spells, if you want to call them that. And that is the kind of magical work that transforms the existing energy. And what I would put in that, in my experience, is things like mantra ritual. Now, if you've never had a real mantra that's been crafted and created just for you based on your chart, then maybe you do or maybe you don't know how powerful this type of ritual is. So if you're interested in that, you can go to astrology.thunderwizard.com, and you can get an astrology reading from either myself or from one of my apprentices who has learned my style of astrology. And one of the things that I do that even a lot of Vedic astrologers don't do, because they haven't been trained to do it, is I will look at your chart and I will be able to create for you a very specific mantra vibration that aligns directly to you, to your energy vibration. And one of the, there's a couple of ways that you do that, besides doing things like finding out exactly which planet wants to work with you and is working for you, and based on your moon sign, what first syllable of a deity's name is going to work well with you, all that kind of stuff. And that you can get very specific. And when you do, you usually immediately feel something. Like when I create mantras for people, I'm not creating them, by the way. I'm just, I do. If those of you who've been there on the phone while I've done it, you know how much work it is. I pull out this book, I look at this, I look up that, I look up this, and it takes me a while. But it's like when you go to the doctor, and the doctor, or an herbalist, and the herbalist gives you the exact prescription for your situation, as opposed to just going to the supermarket and going to the the vitamin aisle in the supermarket trying to find what herbs might help you. There's a difference. That, when I do that, what I'm doing is I am transforming the existing energy to serve you. And so what you do with a mantra is you do the mantra every day, and there will be a specific ritual. Based on your chart, it will tell you which direction to face, which is, which one of the 9 worlds you're dealing with. And there will be an element that you offer to the deity that you're working with. And all of that can be found in your Vedic astrological chart by those who know how to look for it. And so when you do that, you are either placating energies that are causing you challenges. So you're asking those energies to calm down and to turn around and start working for you. Or you are finding an energy, a planet in your chart that is opposing whatever planet is causing the problem. And so you focus on that, and then you strengthen that one, and that one sort of stares down the planet that's giving you a hard time and may open things up and stimulate other things in your chart. So what you're doing is you're using existing energy and you're transforming it to help you get your intention to get what you want. And so with that kind of magical spell, magical ritual, you do that on a daily basis. You can do that for like a 40-day period, or you can do it every day for maintenance. And it's a way of just taking the existing energies and focusing them or transforming them so you end up getting what it is that you want, or solving problems, or optimizing your life, that kind of thing. So that's one kind. And that, again, would be analogous to the part of the universe that we understand where matter and energy is neither created nor destroyed, it is just transformed. Then there's another type of magical spell or ritual which you don't do every day. So what I just mentioned would be something that you do on a daily basis for either a specific period of time or for your entire life. And the other way is what I'm about to share with you, which is a ritual that is done once or done for a short period of time. And it actually, in my experience anyway, it actually creates out of nothing. And these are very powerful. And so I didn't really realize, I knew when to use these two types of ritual and magic, but I didn't really realize that there was a correlation with the universe that we understand. Now, the first type, the type that transforms or balances the existing energy, those things should be done all the time. That should be done on a regular basis for long periods of time so that you can optimize the existing energy within your life. The other kind, if you do it right, you don't want to do it often because it will have such a tremendous impact on you that you don't want to have to go through that kind of energy intensity very often. And this is one of the reasons why when I originally started doing my distance healing, I was offering it for very inexpensive because I was testing it out to see how it would work. And I used a very specific type of energy that was very powerful. And I got more than a few people who contacted me saying that their life got worse. I mean, their lives eventually turned around because it was like, it's like a super cleanse. But they were, contacting me. Oh my God, I got your distance healing and it was so powerful and my life's all falling apart. And, I'm having to tell them, just calm down, just wait, keep doing the meditation. And then later they come back to me and they say, oh my God, my life is so much better now. It's been so transformed. But, I found out what I wanted to find out, which was that isn't necessarily something that I want to offer to the masses because not everybody wants to go through that. So I do, if somebody comes to me now for a distance healing, I have a different method that I use, which still is very healing and powerful, but it has a much more user-friendly experience for them. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. You don't want to be doing these kinds of rituals all the time unless you are prepared to have your entire world, torn apart and put back together again. It's like, experiencing a big bang. And so for me, that's what it feels like. It feels like you're tapping into the undercurrent, the 95% of the universe. That as the universe is expanding, there is this energy that is created out of nothing, seemingly, and fills in the space. And these energies do a hell of a lot more than that, but that was the thing that really started getting to me. And the idea that when we manifest in those kinds of really magical ways, we are creating out of nothing. And so that's what I want to talk about. So there's two kinds. There's the kind that, like mantra ritual is very powerful, don't get me wrong. But in my experience, what's happening is that you're transforming the existing 5% of the static energy within your world, within your universe. And then you do these very specific rituals that create out of nothing, and you do these once. Or if there's a sequence of like 2 or 3 days, when you do them, you do that thing for 2 or 3 days, and then you stay the hell away from it. And that would be along the lines of the spell of the 9 knots. If you're not familiar with the spell of the 9 knots, it is a traditional magical spell that was used, who knows, how far through the Germanic world, whether it went into Scandinavia and continental, Germanic places, but we know that it was a spell that was used in England by Anglo-Saxon, I think witches especially. And there's a modern way of doing it where you use a thread and you weave 9 knots and you bury it and all that kind of stuff. And I teach how to do that on my DVD of the same name, The Spell of the 9 Knots, which you can find at courses.thunderwizard.com. But I've also synthesized a very powerful way to use the 9 worlds and to use the 9 centers of the body in a sine wave, which means you start from the bottom, the top, and it bounces back and forth until it gets to the heart center, and then boom, it creates from there. And so that is what I would consider to be the second type, where you're creating out of nothing. And it's so powerful that it's not something you want to do all the time. So what I'm going to do is, in the B video, again, this is the A video. In the B video, I'm going to walk you through how to do a condensed version of the spell of the 9 knots that I've synthesized, which uses the 9 worlds and the 9 centers of the body. And the energy bounces back and forth between your centers until you create out of nothing from your soul energy. So that's where we're going to go next. And to do that, you go to thunderwizard.com and you just simply click on the video. It'll be free. As I said, normally in order to get to those videos, you have to subscribe to the Manifestation Mastery course. But because we're in the lockdown phase, I'm going to give it to you for free. By the way, before we go there, I do recommend going to lockdown.thunderwizard.com. I'm giving away $3,214 worth of stuff. I mean, I'm giving away all of the teachings that I have control over, that I can decide to control in terms of the payment. The only things that are not contained in the lockdown package that are mine would be the subscriptions and the books and the DVDs. I don't control the money on that. But everything else that I do have, which is, if you were to buy it separately, would add up to $3,214, including two certifications where you can be certified for my style of astrology reading, as well as certified for my style of rune reading. And you can learn, if you choose to, how to become a life coach and teach people one of the things that I do, which is help people find out their true soul desire, their true path, and to create their perfect business. And so you can learn how to do that as well. And again, I'm giving you that away for free. The only thing you pay for on the lockdown package is you are paying for 5 separate services that I give to you via Skype, which can take 2 to 3 hours. That's the only thing that you're paying for. Everything else you get for free, and I'll keep doing that as long as we have this lockdown thing going on. And if you're stuck at home and you've lost your job, you'll have plenty of time to go through everything. You won't be able to get through everything before this whole lockdown thing has passed. All right, so that's it. So go to thunderwizard.com and look for the B video of this, which is the 2 types of magical spells and when to invoke each power. And I will see you over there. Okay.